So it took me about a year to become a software engineer. Made so many mistakes. The journey, I just like hindsight, I could see all the different things that I did wrong, right? And so what would I do if I could go back in time and teach myself all over again, knowing all the mistakes I made, knowing what actually worked and what did not work? That's what this video is about. We're going to dive into it. So the time frame that we're choosing, just for the sake of this video, to keep things a little bit organized, we're gonna focus on 3 months. Now, is 3 months, is it gonna guarantee that you get a job or whatever the case may be? No. Okay. There's a lot of talk out there. If this person says under this amount of time, or this person says this amount of time, then they're gonna be 100% wrong, and they're a scam and all this other stuff. Look, you can learn more in 3 months than somebody did spending 5 years, right? Because if you have the right mental focus, if you have the right mindset and determination, and you are not trying to waste seconds, if somebody's just looking at the big picture and thinking, oh, I got a year to study this, or I got 4 years, think about when you were in school. Maybe you went to college. I'm sure you didn't study every single day, every single second for those 4 years, right? There was a lot of downtime. Again, you can learn a lot within a short amount of time if you're focused and you are determined with it. There's a lot of people out there that get all like in their feelings for some reason. Anyway, so first thing, we talked about this in the last video about being overwhelmed and frustrated. That was where I first was, right? So I would talk to myself in that perspective, like, Dave, what are our goals that we want? Okay, want to be a web developer. Great. So what are the first things that we need to do for web development? Well, I need to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and potentially a framework like React. Now, let's set the stage for this. Let's set a roadmap in place. So we got this 3-month time period. Let's break it down. So the first week, I want you to focus on HTML. What are the tools and resources that I want you to use to learn HTML, Dave? I want you to actually get a book. I don't want you to get a Udemy course. I don't want you to follow all the stuff on YouTube, because it's very easy for you to just copy and follow. And then later when you have to build it, you're not going to be able to do it. How do I know, Dave? Because I made those same mistakes. And it took months and months of me trying to figure out why. Oh, because I was in something called tutorial hell for hella long. To avoid all of that, let's just be able to process information and be able to digest it for ourselves. Let's start out with a book. Let's get some examples. Let's try to build a resume. And after we build the resume, let's try to build a bio page. Let's try to build some of these simple static sites. Now, I'm saying simple in hindsight for where I currently am right now. So if you're just starting off and it's like, oh, that's not simple, I understand. But after you study, you look back and be like, oh, it is simple. Next thing I would tell myself to focus on would be the next 2 weeks, you're going to learn CSS. First, you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to be doing vanilla CSS. You're going to be doing all the styles. Then the week after that, the third week, we're going to be looking at frameworks, libraries that's just going to make CSS a little bit easier. And these styles that we're going to be playing with, which is CSS, we're going to be applying those styles to our resume or whatever other websites that we build in our first week. So we still have that project. Everything that we're doing is project oriented. So we're building in the first week projects. Second week, we're editing those projects. We're making them look nice. Now, the fourth week comes, and now we're starting to get into JavaScript. So here, obviously, we're still trying to play around with the previous HTML, CSS, but now we have JavaScript, and there's interactivity that's going on here. So with JavaScript, we're going to start practicing from weeks 4 all the way through week 12. We're working on JavaScript. JavaScript can be that hard, and we're spending most of our time doing it, at least all the way up until, let's say, week 8, week 9. So week 4 to week 9-ish, we're going to spend all that time on JavaScript. We're going to start off, are we going to go and try to, 0 to mastery? Oh, I shouldn't have said it like that. No shots. Are we trying to be like masters of JavaScript? No, we're not. We're not trying to do any of those things. We're trying to be proficient in these languages. HTML, you can spend a year learning HTML. There's so many things to learn in HTML. CSS, there's so many things to learn in CSS. There's JavaScript, there's like endless. But does that mean you can't get a job? Like, do you have to be a master to get a job? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we want to focus on the things that we need to do to get the job. And so I would tell myself, look, learn how to use variables, learn what functions are, be able to make some functions, make some Mad Libs, make tic tac toe, some simple matching games. And now we're going to do some to do lists and maybe a weather app. And we're going to build some small stuff. And then we're going to maybe do a blackjack game, maybe a chatting app. There's a whole bunch of ideas out there. And now, how are we learning JavaScript? There's a couple ways you can learn it. Maybe a book is not necessarily the best way because it's so dry. And maybe you're more of a visual learner and you want to go with the course. But I would tell myself, look, if you're going to do this, don't be on a keyboard watching a person and trying to code with them. Don't do that. Just understand, take notes, and then on your own, close that whole browser down. Try to do it. If you can't do it, that means you don't understand it, and that's okay. But you're going to try to implement it. You have your instructions. You know what you want to do. You have an idea of what you want to build, and that's what we're going to build. Everything is project oriented. We have an idea of how to do it because we've seen somebody do it, so we know we can do it. Oh, what was this? What was this situation again? I forgot how to do it. All right, we're going to research how to do that, and we're going to learn that way. We're not going to continuously watch somebody and then code, watch somebody and then code, because you won't be able to code. And this is where I spent months wasting time thinking I was a developer, thinking I was doing a great job, only to realize that I couldn't code anything. And it was sad. It was very sad. But we get to about week 8, week 9, and we're gonna start spending some of our time on React and building maybe a portfolio in React and maybe some other application, something that you always wanted to do. And then time to start applying for jobs. Throughout that duration, I will also be encouraging myself to go out to meetups because there's so many other facets to being a developer. It's not just about coding, it's about communication. And I'm coming from an education background, so teaching and constantly being in front of people and groups of people and communicating and speaking to their parents and their friends or whoever. And so that's something that I felt very confident in. So I wouldn't spend too much energy into that. But just as a side note, that is something that I noticed a lot of people aren't talking about. And I do notice that a lot of software engineers do have that problem of not being able to communicate well. And they come off a little bit, that's just called binary, like zeros and ones. Like, it's either it is or it's in a gray area. But anyway, I digress. That's pretty much how I would tackle it. And now, obviously, it's a tight period. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, there was no algorithms in here. There was no leak code and all this other stuff. You can't get a job without doing leak code. Lies, 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 lies. You absolutely can get a job without grinding leak code. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care who they are. Now, will those things make you a better developer? There's probably gonna be somebody like listen to that clip and be like, "Oh my God, like he's saying you shouldn't study it. Like, oh, what kind of developer is he?" No, those things, being able to do algorithms and data structures and solve those challenges and those problems, make you a better developer. Absolutely, but they're not needed for you to get a job. Those are things you can develop on the job. You can get better on the job. I'm all about getting on the job as quickly as possible and then getting paid to learn. That's what I'm about. If you're not about that, that's fine. That's fine. It's just a difference of opinion. But let me know because I am curious. What are you about? Let me know in the comments below. And the last thing I would say to myself is in this journey, mindset is super important. So how you start and how it's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. So going through, I don't want to get burnt out. I want you to enjoy the process. I want you to build things that you love. I want you to have fun while you're doing this and to really like have this be a passion for you. But at the same time, I want you to be healthy with how you do it. I want you to take regular breaks. Whatever those breaks may be, it might be 45 minutes and then you take a break. It might be 2 hours and then you take a break. Whatever is your comfort for you to be able to take a break, walk around for 15 minutes, go outside, get some fresh air, whatever the case may be. Got to be healthy in that regard because this job is very demanding on your mind. You might hear a whole bunch about how a lot of software engineers quit because of the stress or so many other reasons, but I've had a very, very stressful time as a software engineer at one point where I couldn't eat. I was having a really hard time sleeping. There was a lot going on. It was from the job, and if you're interested, comment below, let me know. I can actually like shoot a whole nother video going into like how stressed I was about this job and how important it is to take care of your mental health, because no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that for you. You have to do that, right? So I will let myself know that early on in advance. Yeah, that's the roadmap. And if you guys are interested, not having to rewatch this or anything like that, and just being able to have it like printed out or in like a PDF form, I have a link down below in the description. Feel free to snag it, download it, and why not? I mean, it's free. It's really gonna help you tremendously, especially if you're someone like, I don't know what's going on. Everybody's telling me all these different things to do. Easy, clear, no BS approach. Just learn the basics, the core fundamentals of what you need to know, and then get paid to learn everything else. All right, so that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.